watching GrassRoots Community Television, helping you make television people watch everywhere. Broadcasting on cable channel 82 in Glenwood Springs and Carbondale, and channel 12 in Aspen, Snowmass, Basalt, and Elgibel. Free over-the-air broadcasts throughout the Roaring Fork Valley. All programs can be watched anytime, anywhere at grassrootstv.org.
Days go by, I can feel them flying like a hand out the window as the cars go by. It's all we've been given, so you better start living, you better start living, better start living right now. As days go by, I can feel them flying like a hand out the window with the wind. The cars go by, it's all we've been given.
Welcome to MomsTV. Well, if you are a new parent, this statistic will not surprise you. New moms are 4 times more likely to be hospitalized for mental health concerns. Everything ranging from postpartum depression to anxiety, you name it, new moms are struggling just a little bit. It is stressful. And it's something that our guest today, Mia Wilson, knows a little something about because as a family therapist and a new mom, you're pretty familiar with what moms are going through.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
I am.
I mean that sincerely. I don't think it's a shock to anybody that new moms are more likely to be suffering a little bit. I had a little anxiety. I remember thinking I was going to my baby was just going to spring out of my arms and land on the floor in a heap. And it was such a bizarre feeling to me to think that was, I knew it was irrational, but yet I kept having that thought.
Right, just that protectiveness, and you just don't want anything to happen.
Is
and
that
what
what
if?
it is?
Yeah, I do. I think that's what it is, yeah. I know. I had fears that I would fall down the stairs, walking with Olivia in my arms. And all kinds of fears, actually. I went through a real rough patch in the beginning of motherhood.
Well, and tell me a little bit about that, because I know that what you went through really spurred you to begin a new support group for moms called Mommy Matters, which is a valley-wide program through the Hope Center, which is an awesome resource, and it's evolved somewhat, but tell me a little bit about what spurred that on.
Well, I think it originally came from a request from some of the OBGYNs in the Valley. I think Dr. Knight and Dr. Nagel had approached the Hope Center, saying there was a huge need for new mothers to have some more support, and would they be willing to put together a group, and they were very excited to do it. And then they approached me, and I was thrilled that they had contacted me, because I had just been coming out of my own, rough patch in the first probably 3 months of being a mother, and knew that when I got through that and was doing better, I wanted to use my expertise as a therapist to be able to give some support to moms. So I was thrilled that they approached me, and we started putting it together last summer, and it started rolling this past spring, and it's great. I mean, moms need some support. It is one of the biggest. It is the biggest change you'll ever go through, and a lot of stress. So it's great to get that support, and you can do it in fun ways too. So that's what's nice.
Well, and that is great. So your group meets, and do you just talk about whatever, or is there an agenda?
Yeah, there really isn't an agenda. I kind of touch base with the new moms about what they'd like to get out of group, kind of in the beginning when they first start coming, and just to make sure that we're hitting some of those topics. But it really is just very natural and very casual. It's just a place for new moms to get together and connect with other moms.
Is the need greater for new moms than it is for new dads? Because I know that moms suffer a little bit more from the physical changes, the social changes, especially if they're moms who are staying home with their babies, which is typical, at least for the first 3 months. Most women do have the opportunity to stay home with their babies. And with that comes some isolation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it probably is harder on the moms. Like you said, they have the physical changes, and I think there's so much of that responsibility that's on the moms. And just recovering from childbirth, it can be rough. But, interestingly, in the research that I found, and really in my personal experience with our own family, I think that the daddies, the husbands, definitely go through a big adjustment as well. It is also very stressful for them. Their lives change quite a bit too. Their free time is lessened, and I think they feel a lot of responsibility for, you know, providing for the family. Sometimes they're the ones that are staying home with the babies, and moms go back to work.
Right.
You know, that does happen, and I think they feel this incredible responsibility to take care of the mom and pick up some of the extra housework and cooking at home while the mom is, you know, getting on her feet again. So it's a really big change for the dads too.
Right. Now, what if you're a mom who's going through all of these things and you're a single mom?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a lot of those women in your group that you can offer support to, or what are you finding there?
You know, I do have a couple of single moms that are utilizing the group and coming, and they I think are getting a lot out of the group, and I think it's a great place for single mothers or mothers who have partners to come.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think that, you know, there are great resources in the Valley as well for single moms and not single moms.
Right, right, exactly. So your group, you said, has been evolving. That initially you were really focused on, through the Hope Center, helping those who really were struggling with, you know, either some anxiety or some postpartum depression or any of the myriad mental health issues that can come up. And in fact, one of the things I've heard is that the first 10 to 19 days is when women are most vulnerable. So that's a great time, by the way, I would think, for grandmas and grandpas to come visit and stay and offer that support, because that is probably the most vulnerable time, especially for anxiety. I know my thoughts of throwing my child out the window inexplicably went away after the first couple of weeks.
Right, right. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Right. What was that? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I think that the first few weeks, the first month is very, very hard. I mean, so many adjustments, so much sleep deprivation, really just learning about your baby and how to soothe your baby and how to breastfeed, or how to get the baby to drink from the bottle, and is my baby getting enough food, and how to help put the baby to sleep. I mean, so many things that are just unknowns, you know? So
some of it's intuitive, but a lot of it just is, you know, like, wow, what am I doing wrong?
I know. But the group first came about, yes, you know, there were really some requests for a group for women with postpartum depression, and that was originally how it came about. And really, you know, over the months of developing it and actually even starting the group, it's really morphed more. The group, Mommy Matters, has really morphed into just a group for moms, new moms especially, to get support and to hang out with other moms and to have some fun and to laugh about, like, the stress, and to realize that you're normal, that there's nothing wrong with you. I think a lot of mothers can feel like they're crazy. What's wrong with me that I'm not enjoying this? What's wrong with me that I'm not having fun with this? Or being away from their own families. A lot of people that live in this valley are far away from their relatives and extended family. So it's really a great place for people to hear that they're normal and to get ideas. You know, well, I found some success in getting my baby to sleep by doing this, and these are some books that I've used, and my friend told me this, and, you know, to share that stuff. We've also, so the group has morphed into a group really for any new moms.
That's great.
But also we've made this exciting change where the moms are invited to bring their babies. So it's really become a group for moms to hang out and have fun, sharing, you know, their babies with each other, and also the babies will get to know each other too.
Sounds like a great play group kind of opportunity too.
Exactly, exactly.
And in a minute, we're going to be joined by a group of moms who will share some of their, you know, new mom experiences with us. So I love getting that perspective. And I know that play groups have always existed and always will, which is awesome. It's just a great way to connect. And I'll be anxious to hear about some of the other things that new moms are doing these days. But that's a great thing. I know you have an event coming up, a kickoff for Mommy Matters for the year. Any date yet on that?
You know, I think we're not positive about that, but probably sometime in October. And it's just going to be a fun day of, you know, where families can come, moms, dads, kids of all ages can come and just have fun in the park.
So just another support and outreach. That's awesome.
Yeah, just to kick off.
And if people want more information about that event, or about Mommy Matters, or about groups, or even, I suppose, some counseling, they can contact you.
Yep. And my number is 970-618 8660. So call me with questions about group, about counseling, about new mother stuff, about the kickoff, and just to also remind everybody that this group is sponsored by the Aspen Hope Center. So you can also call the Aspen Hope Center with any questions, 925-5858.
Great.
And that is, under the umbrella of the Aspen Valley Medical Foundation.
Yeah, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
A great resource, as are you. Thank you.
Thank
I know
you.
you've been working with families and teaching workshops and leading programs long before you had your own little Olivia. So we're just thrilled to have you in the Valley as well. So stick with us, because we're going to come right back after this break, and we're going to be joined by a couple of other moms who are going to share their new mom experiences. So stay with us.
Yeah.
The days go by, I can feel them flying like a hand out the window as the cars go by. It's all we've been given, so you better start living. You better start living. Better start living right now. As days go by, I can feel them flying like a hand out the window with the wind. The cars go by. It's all we've been given, so you better start living right now. As days go by.
And welcome back to Moms TV. We are joined by a panel of experts, and I really mean it this time, because we're talking about new moms, and I have 3 new moms right here, so y'all know exactly what you're talking about. You are in the thick of it. So I want to introduce quickly Rachel Goodman, who has an 11-month-old, Ashley, and I am wanting to say your maiden name.
Okay,
But
it's Ashley
Ashley
Connolly.
Connolly. I know that was, I had
Yeah.
blanked for a second. And Ashley has a 13-month-old. And Mia Wilson, thank you for being back with us again with your 22-month-old. So I said this earlier during the break, but I don't feel old, but my goodness, I do feel like I'm out of this loop. So I'm going to defer to the experts for sure today. How is it being a new mom? Are you feeling good about it? Are you feeling lonely or isolated? Or are you just enjoying every second?
I love it. I mean, Ashley and I were speaking earlier. I think we both kind of came into it a little scared, thinking it was going to be a little more terrifying than it turned out to be. But I'm thoroughly loving it.
No visions of throwing your baby out the window like I
didn't
had?
have that, but that now has scared me a bit. There were certainly moments in the beginning and those first tough times when my husband and I were trying to figure out which way was up and which way was down.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of self-doubt, but as time goes on, you realize he's still alive. I must be doing something right. So you build your confidence.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and I've just loved being a mom, and it's Rachel and I were discussing before. It's very interesting that when you're pregnant, people are, oh, you'll never sleep again. It sort of tell you all these bad things, and I'm not making light of it. It is hard, but I just want to be the voice that says it's also the most amazing thing in the world. And my little son is such a blessing, and it's just such a joy. And it maybe helps that I'm a little bit older, so I really wanted it and just so enjoy the time. But I've heard mothers talk about how it can be kind of lonely and isolating. And there's moments here and there that I can see that. But I think we are so fortunate and blessed to live in a community like a small town. I've lived in cities. I've lived in Chicago and Denver, and it was before I had kids, but I think it's harder to connect in bigger areas, even though there's more people. But here, I met Rachel through this kind of informal mommies group. I go to the library story hour, and you see the same people. So that's what's nice about a small
So that
town.
does help, though, too, with being a new mom, is staying connected to your community, getting out and doing those things, which I have to laugh because my oldest is 18, and it sounds like the activities themselves have not really changed a great deal. I mean, you're still doing story time and gymnastics and music class and all those wonderful things.
No, and the funny thing is that I grew up here and moved back, so I used to play in that red brick gym that's just over there, and my little son is over there right now with my stepdad playing in the red brick gym, which is kind of a little freaky, but it's also it's cute, it is just the same. I mean, things have changed, but not everything.
One of the things that's changed, I think, that we've talked about quite a bit on Moms TV is the social networking piece. That I certainly didn't have even 13 years ago when my youngest was born. But that's a big deal for you all, isn't it? Does it keep you connected?
Well, in the beginning, I I did feel a bit isolated, in part because I was fairly new to this community. I had only been here for a couple years at that point, and I came here as the single professional working woman, and I had a great, wonderful group of friends that I had just met. But once I had my baby, it was a whole new group of women that I was looking for to share, and my family is very distant. So I came across Moms for Moms, which was a social networking site, and it was just like this hallelujah moment of, here they are. Now I can know what's going on, what's free, where, you know, the best pediatricians, all the struggles with sleep time wasn't just me, and you know, so it really helped get me involved and make some wonderful friendships and not feel that isolation as much. Because I had my son in November, or end of October, basically going into November, and those were some dark, chilly months. So come springtime, I was ready to get outside.
Yeah, because you don't typically strap on a 1-week-old and, you know, head out into the cold.
Yeah, at 5:30, whatever. It was dark.
These are the women you're talking about. This is what your group was formed for, really.
Yeah, just a place for moms to come and be with other moms in a really casual, informal,
and you know, that's why I'm
safe
on
place.
MomsTV still. I mean, there's something about moms supporting each other, and I say this all the time. I could have just as easily called this Dad's TV or Parents TV, and I want them to watch. You know, I want everybody to watch and be part of it. But there's something about moms connecting that is just a natural, and even if it's just 2 moms together, it's a natural, and it's supportive, and it's encouraging. It's what we need,
and it's fun.
And it's fun.
That's great. I heard you say earlier that kids are coming. So I think that's great. And if it's just a support group and the kids can be there too, which, because you do start to value your alone time a lot, that when he's napping or sleeping, you know, I'd rather, you know, I have other stuff I want to do, but I think it's great to have activities that you can bring.
In fact, you know what's really cool about it? I will interject and say that with my 18-year-old, 16-year-old, and almost 14-year-old, they are going to school now, and my 18-year-old will be graduating soon with babies that we went to moms groups with. So, you know, those are lasting friendships that you all will have, and they're lasting relationships that your kids will have too, which is really neat to think about.
Right.
Bond.
And I think that's such another advantage of living in a relatively small community, is that
true.
we will, all the people in our little group that we get together with, I mean, assuming people don't move, we're going to be in school together.
And even if they do move, you know, you make these great connections. There's nothing like this time in your life. I mean, I've talked to grandmas in their 70s who've said, we're still best friends with the people we raised our kids with. So that's it.
Well, and that's where the technology and the social networking still comes in, is, you know, being able to stay in touch so easily and sharing pictures about, you know, of your family and your children, and, you know, getting online and researching, you know, those things that are really bothering you and you're not sure, like, what can I do about my child not going to sleep? You can type in your question on the internet and you can find lots of resources and lots of information. And I feel like when I was, you know, really right in the beginning, that was some of the one of the fastest ways to get some answers. Sometimes I didn't have time to read a book. I didn't have time to make phone calls to my friends. I would send out an email to 17 of my mommy friends saying, what should I do? And I would get 17 responses, and I'm like, sweet.
And a great point, Mia, especially for working moms. I think that they need that outreach even more, because they're gone all during the day. They're not meeting, you know, for lunch or story time or whatever as much as the others. So that's a great resource for working moms too.
It's amazing too. I mean, with those moms, you have that immediate friendship, that immediate bond, just because you can relate, and you're not inventing information to talk about. You can talk about really relevant, wonderful stuff. And the people that live here and the families that live here because they want to. They love this community. They love this environment. And, you know, we all, I think, envisioned seeing our children skiing together and on the mountain and just participating in all that outdoor activity that makes for happy kids and happy families. And
are you also, do you find yourselves even at 11 months and 13 months and 22 months doing a lot of those things together? They're probably not on skis yet, but do you find yourselves outdoors with them? Yeah.
Hiking.
Parks,
Absolutely.
Yes. In the pack
And skiing with the gondola. We took James skiing quite often. I mean, obviously he wasn't skiing.
In a backpack?
No, well, no, not in the backpack. I think they frown on that at the ski co these
do
days.
they?
Although when I was a kid, I think I wasn't on the backpack. But we just take them up the gondola, and if you have enough people, you hang out at the top at the sun deck. And there's certain parents' tables, and then you just take turns doing runs. So you stay up. So we'll probably do that with him. I don't think he'll be skiing. Yeah, we were just discussing our skiing plan. We live close to the mountains, so that's kind of a fun. But
so some of the parents will babysit the kids while the other parents are
Exactly.
taking some runs.
Exactly.
Love
We
it.
can ski with our husbands. and whatnot.
Right?
Yeah,
What a luxury too. I mean, really.
Yes.
I remember the first time all 3 of my kids were finally in ski school, and my husband and I were like, "Oh my God, let's go out for lunch or something." We totally didn't even ski. We were like, we had a date.
Yeah. I know.
That's great.
It's and plus, another advantage I find living here is just the sense of safety. Coming from, I moved around a lot as a kid, and just knowing, like as a parent, I'm worried about my child breaking his collarbone, and should he be a ski racer, and it's all the how many emergency rooms or visits are we going to have versus I think a lot of the worries that urban mothers might feel. So that's a huge value to me,
Right.
being in this area.
Right. And we probably all share a lot of just the anxieties of being a new mom. But it sounds like
Yeah.
you guys have really sort of gotten yourselves through that initial stage of it, and now it's about just the connections and connecting with other moms. Is that right?
I think so.
Right. No, there's new stages. A lot of people have told me 1 to 2 was their hardest time because I enjoyed so much 0 to 1, so I was kind of worried. And I have noticed in the last month, James is 13 months old, that there's this new stage of kind of willfulness, and he just wants what he wants, but at the same time, I know it's, you talk to other moms and they're at that age, or if they're a couple months ahead, you just know it's so normal.
Yeah.
And
that it's good for them.
and
that they're
that's,
developing.
yes.
I mean, that it's actually
and
healthy.
from, I have a background in psychology as well and work as a psychotherapist. So I do know that it's a normal developmental stage to be in this ego phase. But anyways, it's still challenging because my sweet little boy is now saying, like, we were at Story Yard the other day and he decided he wanted to go to the water fountain because that was very cool. And so I'd put him down and he'd go to the water fountain and cry until I lifted him up. And, that's just where he is. And so, it's exhausting. I mean, I am running, it's physically a demanding.
He's not really even walking yet.
No, but he's just, so.
We're both on the brink of that real exhaustion.
Exactly, but he's such a fast crawler. So, when I don't want to portray that, it's so easy, I just love it. But I do love it.
You love it
but
even when it's challenging.
Yeah, there are challenges.
The toughest job you'll ever love.
Yeah.
Right?
What would you say are your number one, for anybody watching or listening, whether they're here in the Valley or not, what would be your number one tip or resource or book you would direct somebody to? What has helped you the most in this past year?
Well, I would say, so many people would say to me, when I was pregnant or early new mom, like, don't read any of the books, don't read any of the books, it doesn't make sense. Or, you shouldn't do that because inevitably, like, you might read, like, they're supposed to be doing this at that time.
Sure.
And I think the message they were trying to portray is saying, like, don't worry if the book says your kid's supposed to be walking at 1 and he's not. With that said, I've learned so much, if you from reading parenting books.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just kind of, I'm a dork, I'm a student,
what
I
you
like
want.
to learn. But
Pick and choose, exactly.
I got
What
James
works
on a
for
really
you.
good sleep schedule that works for me and for him. And I think sometimes, so my advice is, you take it with a grain of salt. You don't need to be paranoid if a certain book, but as long as you're just not reading one and you say, so I think, find the resources. Don't just like Google and go to some like chat thing, find, babycenter.org is a really good one, or, there's just so many good books. And for me, that's been helpful.
Yeah, great.
And I just feel like the message is always like, don't listen to anybody. Trust your mommy's instinct, which is
huge.
absolutely trust your instincts so much.
Yeah.
But you can also know that people studied this stuff. There's
You
experts
do need to
out
learn,
there.
Yeah.
Right.
You haven't done this before.
Right. And then trust your intuition.
Yeah,
So
love
like
it. That's great.
So
You
I
can
think
choose what fits for you.
it's a mix and match of both.
How about you, Mia? What would you say? What's your
Well, I have used babycenter.com a lot, with my background and my training and all the parenting strategies that I teach other people, I mean, I use that stuff every day, being a mom. All the stuff that I teach parents, I use it too.
Right.
And which it's great, all the social emotional things that I'm trying to impart to other people. And I think, another piece of information I would say is, when you're going through those hard patches, like, whether it be in the beginning or now when they're, really testing their independence, just keeping in mind that, those stages don't last forever.
Yeah.
You can feel so overwhelmed and so stressed out and be like, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. Or, this is just so hard. And it really passes. I mean,
gives you, when
sometimes-
you look at it that way, it sort of gives you you feel a little bit more empowered to just sort of embrace the moment, you know, and deal with it.
And you will get through it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I remember things like, you know, when we couldn't get her to take the bottle after she'd been breastfeeding, we're like, what are we going to do? You know, and it's like, you figure it out.
Right.
And then, you know, a month later, you're like, God, that wasn't that big of a deal. You know, all those things you worried about, or all the things I worried about.
Are so relatively short.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
are
really-
pretty short.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, when you're in those really rough times, to just realize, okay, this isn't going to last forever. We are going to get through it.
How about you, Rachel?
There's so many.
So many tips.
And now it's so fun to be able to speak to new moms who are going through it, and they've got that look in their eye, and I feel like I can be the wise sage for a brief moment and just give some good advice. But I was really fortunate to have a very supportive husband who was very key and insistent on me going out and getting my own time, whether that was a little workout or just even a 10-minute walk, because I would find that there would be 3 days that I hadn't left the house. And I was so just wanting to make sure I was doing everything perfect, and he was sleeping, or if he wasn't, I was just kind of losing myself.
So important.
One of
the things,
10, 15-minute walks.
and one of the things that we teach in parenting classes too is that you, when you're on an airplane and they say, you know, put the oxygen on yourself before assisting others, it's so you don't pass out, you know, and be of absolutely no service to whoever's sitting next to you. The same is true with raising kids. You have to take care of yourself. You absolutely have to take that mommy time, or whatever you call it, so that you have the energy and the wherewithal to deal with the challenge. It's challenging. It's a big job.
And then I would come back a little happier, which then made him happier, and just made the whole home a little more
Easier, you know, when you get that break, you can come back with a fresh perspective. You're not exhausted. And
and don't be afraid to rely on your friends and other mothers around you, and if you're fortunate enough to have mothers-in-law or grandmothers nearby, because you need that time together as a couple too. So that's my little tidbit. Well, you guys, thank you so much. I know we could just go on and on.
There's so many tips. There's
so many tips. But you know, if people want more information, they can certainly call Mia at the Mommy Matters line through the Hope Center. And you can always go on to grassrootstv.com and get more information about all of the resources that we've talked about too. There's a listing of all sorts of great community events. So
great.
Thank you guys so
Thanks,
much.
Charla.
It's so
Thank you,
great.
Charla.
Congratulations. You look fabulous, by the way. So great to have you, and thank you all for joining us here on Moms TV.
The days go by, I can feel them flying like a hand out the window as the cars go by. It's all we've been